Action Masters. Released in 1990, the final line of Transformers Generation 1 featured action figure versions of classic characters and new characters. Single-carded figures came with a transforming partner that would become a weapon. Larger sets came with an Action Master and a transforming vehicle. Fans absolutely hated Action Masters because the line fully replaced Transformers that actually transformed. I can see why Action Masters were hated at the time, but in hindsight, it's a really fun toy line with some sick figures. For a lot of G1 characters, the Action Masters was actually the first time they were getting another release. You know how we get a Soundwave every couple of years nowadays? That was not the case in the 80s. The single figure packs are not super interesting to me, to be honest, but I have to say I love a lot of the names they chose for the partners in the packs. Catgut is a great name. Wing Thing is a Soundwave partner that first appeared as an Action Master partner. Scorpiolator. They were cooking with that one. Gator Raider. Overall, so figures, great names. Now what I'm really into with this line is the Action Master action vehicles, or attack vehicles, or armored convoy, or blah 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 blah. Basically it would be the Action Master figures with a transforming vehicle. So instead of a transforming robot, you get a vehicle that transforms into another vehicle. Very Mask-like, and honestly I dig that, and it's kind of an underrated part of the line, right? Like, I just don't know how MFers in the 80s could be hating that much when they got cool stuff like Armored Convoy, which is just a huge truck that Optimus Prime drives. There is something deeply funny about Optimus driving a truck like he works for Walmart. Not to mention the Wheeljack with Turbo Racer playset is hilarious because it is a giant car for robots that turn into cars. Well, kind of. There have been many Transformers that don't transform since Action Masters, but Action Masters is the only toy line that got actual lore, involving the Transformers using a mysterious new power source known as Nucleon, which makes the robots exceptionally stronger and faster at the cost of their ability to transform. Like I said, I can see why people hated this toy line, but honestly, how can you hate a toy line with a tank that just holds a bunch of Decepticons like they're just hanging out on a tank? Like, this just looks like a good time. I'd like to hang out as well, to be honest. What's good, internet? It's your boy Jake here, dumb as ever. In this video, we'll be discussing Transformer toys that don't transform, specifically from toy lines created by Hasbro or Takara. This type of product is a hot topic in the fandom because many ask, what's the point? While I think that's a fair question, as the years get on, it's become increasingly obvious that if you want a perfectly screen-accurate figure, a transforming one is not the way to go. This is mostly due to the fact that both robot mode and vehicle mode have concessions in their designs to facilitate the transformation gimmick, and complicated designs like the movies make it even harder to get accurate versions of both modes. As with most of my videos, please do not consider this a complete list by any means, and if there are any I missed that you think are really cool, drop some lore in the comments. Before we get into it, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm almost at 10,000 subscribers, which actually feels insane. At 10k, I'll do a face reveal, so let's get there. Also, shout out to my channel members Rain and Lily Wednesday, who correctly guessed the theme of this video with just the thumbnail. Psst, you can join our Discord server by becoming a channel member today! Mega Super Collection Figure. So Super Collection Figure was a line of blind boxes that held miniature Transformers. At least that's what they were called in Japan. In America, Hasbro called them Heroes of Cybertron. But only in Japan did they have Mega Super Collection Figure, which was a line of toys created to compete with Bandai's Gundam figures. These 5-inch figures were made of PVC, a softer plastic material. The line started with G1 figures and added Armada or Legend of the Micron in Japan characters later. The Armada figures are actually so sick. They even include their Minicon partners. It's pretty cool to see such screen-accurate toys of these characters when the actual toys were, I mean, they did their best. They were pretty close, with the exception of Convoy Super Mode, who is super short and weird looking because he's still only only 5 inches tall, so his proportions look way off compared to the other figures. These figures are super difficult to find info on. In fact, I was having trouble just googling them because Mega Super Collection Figure is such a generic set of words. Big shout out to Discord user Burger King Albania, great name, for helping me even figure out what these things are called. I don't have much to say about these guys besides they're just cool, like I just think they're neat type vibe. Robot Heroes. This is the first of many entries that involves a multi-brand toy line created by Hasbro. Starting with a line of small 2-inch chibi-ified Star Wars characters called Galactic Heroes, Hasbro branched out the idea to Indiana Jones, Toy Story, and by far the most successful idea ever, Marvel's Superhero Squad. I'm sure just that name brought back a flood of memories. Superhero Squad exploded as a brand and got a lot of toys. So many that I was honestly surprised while researching. I did not know it did that well, to be honest. Of course, Hasbro had to try the idea with Transformers, and I think they did a great job, though Robot Heroes was not nearly as successful as its Marvel counterpart. One thing I really like about Robot Heroes is the mix of characters they put out. The line featured characters from G1, Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and the first and second live-action movies. That's right, there was a tiny Beast Machines Cheetor before Legacy United. Who knew? There were even plans for sets that featured RID 2001 and Victory characters, but those were sadly canceled. We could have had it all, people. These designs have a lot of character to them, and I kinda love them. I'm honestly considering collecting these guys. And it's good to note that they have a lot of motion to them, and some of the toys are vehicle modes with dust clouds following them, so that's kind of funny. Some of my favorites from this line have to be Unicron, which is just hilarious that there's a Unicron of these little guys. I also like the movie Frenzy figure because he actually scales pretty well with the real movie figures. The G1 Ravage is just adorable. Waspinator just looks cool. I love the pose he's in. And the Cheetor that looks like he's running is cartoonishly funny to me. This Ironhide one kinda is raising its eyebrow, like that one Optimus Prime meme. Shout out to the oversized Fallen and Devastator figures from Revenge of the Fallen line. They are two really good and unique pieces for the most iconic characters from that movie. Also, look at Captain Lennox from the Devastator set. What was bro smoking? These little guys are the most adorable war criminals in the galaxy, and I can definitely see myself picking some up in the future. Robot Replicas. These were action figures of the live-action movie Transformers that look much closer to the movie models than the toys did at that time. The figures are pretty cool with decent but not great articulation. The first wave based on the 2007 movie features probably the only decent Frenzy figure to date, not counting the adorable Robot Heroes Frenzy. All these figures are the same size, so Megatron and Frenzy are the same size, which is funny. One thing I gotta say is that these guys always stood out on the shelves to me as a kid. Something about the packaging really stood out for me. I guess because they were in robot mode and all the other toys at the time were in vehicle mode. Robot Replicas made sense for the 2007 movie line, since the actual transforming figures at the time were much more simplistic, and the designers were having issues matching the complex CGI models. The same can't be said for the Revenge of the Fallen line, where Hasbro had upgraded their designs quite a bit. For example, mainline leader Optimus Prime looks super close to the movie design and could transform into a truck, meaning that the robot replica of him was somewhat redundant. These are neat, but pretty obsolete by today's standards. Mighty Mugs. Before Funko popped off bars, Hasbro tested the waters of mass-produced vinyl figures with Mighty Mugs. I actually had quite a collection of these as a kid and even kept the packaging like a real collector. Mighty Mugs more or less all shared the same body mold, though they would often feature unique accessories like Luke Skywalker's lightsaber or Indiana Jones' hat. Actually, looking at the boxes again after all these years, it's really funny how close the Funko Pops are in terms of design. I had quite a few Star Wars and Marvel characters, but I did not get many Transformers since they were released later in the line, and honestly, as a kid, I was just not interested in a non-transforming Transformer. The only Transformers mug, that's what us Mighty Mugheads call him, I distinctly remember owning was Grimlock, mostly because I remember his solid red sword being fun. I also feel like I missed out on the movie Bumblebee in Prime, because the Mighty Mug's design surprisingly works really well for the movie designs. Also, look at this Shockwave, he's got a forehead for days. Mighty Mugs is a real sweet spot of nostalgia for me. I had a lot, and I still have a few kicking around, like my beloved Spider-Man. I ended up being really into Funko Pops when they first came out because the Mighty Mugs vibes were so strong. Though as many have, I fell off a long time ago. Seeing how much people hate Funko Pops in current year, maybe it's a good thing Mighty Mugs ended when it did. You know, live long enough to become the villain type stuff. And no, I'm not going to talk about these 2018 abominations that were labeled as Mighty Mugs. Hasbro, bring the real ones back, or don't make any at all. I'm putting my foot down, I'm so serious for this one. RPMs. RPMs, which stands for Robot Powered Machines, was a line of Hot Wheels style toys based on the vehicle modes of the live action movie Transformers. These toys had the unique idea of molding a caricature of the character onto the bottom of the vehicle mode, giving you the option of displaying them as a vehicle or robot. Heavy quotations on robot. I had a few of these, and honestly, they are kind of charming and in general are a neat idea, and for kids who ran on the poorer end of the spectrum like me, it gave a chance to get some more characters. Even though I do enjoy the goofiness of them, the designs do give strong gum stuck on the bottom of your shoe energy. The toys released under RPM were almost exclusively themed around Revenge of the Fallen, with the exceptions of some characters like Soundwave, who got an alt mode that was way more similar to his animated counterpart than the satellite mode of the ROTF character. Have no idea why that happened. There was even a playset, which featured you shooting your RPMs through a winding track being attacked by Devastator, who can chomp down on the cars and release his wrecking balls. Robot enhanced design. End of the line with Hasbro's most recent Transformers action figure effort, Robot Enhanced Design, aka Transformers Red. After the massive success of Marvel Legends and Star Wars Black Series, Hasbro decided every brand they had access to needed a 6-inch line of figures. For some of these brands, I would say they were a success. The G.I. Joe Classified series revitalized a basically dead franchise, and is probably the reason Hasbro is giving the Joes another go in the movies. The Power Rangers Lightning Collection is another success story, though the line seems to be winding down, so I guess it depends on your definition of success. On the other hand, the Ghostbusters starting lineup and shockingly the Fortnite line shamefully failed to capture markets like their peers. The failure of the Fortnite line really shocks me, to be honest, because there are a lot of strong designs in the game, but I feel like the line was bogged down by boring skins and greedy decisions like making the glider accessories cost as much as an actual figure. I'm kind of realizing I have a lot to say on this Fortnite line, so if you want me to talk about it more, comment down below. Back to Transformers Red, this is unfortunately another Hasbro 6-inch line that absolutely fell on its face, releasing only 13 unique figures over the course of 2 years. Interestingly, it seems Hasbro had doubts about the line from the jump, with the toys only being available in Walmart. It is normal for some figures to be retailer exclusive. It is somewhat strange for an entire line of figures to be an exclusive, especially with a strong brand like Transformers. Something funny about the packaging is that it specifically says non-converting figure in small text at the bottom, presumably as something to point to if angry parents complained. I have to say that when these things were announced, I was not totally against them. Transformers with the Marvel Legends articulation sounds like a winner in my my book, and the packaging was really strongly designed, showing off the numerous accessories. Before I hop into why this line didn't work, let's talk about why it did. The main reason it worked for a little bit is because they were really smart about which characters they chose to make. A lot of characters like Prime Universe RC, Knockout, Prime, and Megatron had not gotten figures in a long time, and these new Red figures actually did a lot of justice to those hard to translate designs. I mean, if you compare the Red Knockout to the Legacy Knockout, there's a clear winner to me, and it's not the one that transforms. Now, on the other hand, let's talk about why the line failed. Though Red as a toy line definitely had some quality issues and strange choices, that's common for any new toy line, even ones based on pre-established franchises. No, I think the real reason Red failed was because the mainline transforming figures were too good. Riddle me this, Batman. Why would I buy a Red G1 Optimus Prime that doesn't transform when I could get an Earthrise Leader Class Prime that does transform? It's actually the exact same issue with the robot replicas we talked about earlier. I just realized that. For 95% of Transformers fans, this choice was a no-brainer because they were most likely already invested in the mainline transforming figures. While I don't think Red was a terrible line by any means, logistically it didn't really have a place, at least not on store shelves with actual Transformers that, you know, transform. To this day, there are many second-party companies that make Transformers that don't transform with the permission from Hasbro. Companies like Flame Toys, 3 Zeros, and in recent years, YOLO Park come to mind. These non-transforming Transformers are usually higher-end toys or model kits that are not commonly found at US retailers. I think these figures are really cool looking and prove the concept is still worth exploring. You just have to look a little harder for them. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I got sick while trying to make this video, so it took a little bit longer than I'd hoped, but I'm trying to keep content coming to you steadily, and hopefully there will be no more interruptions like that. Thanks so much for the continued support, and please check out channel memberships. They are the best way to support me, and you get cool perks. Okay, y'all, face reveal at 10K subs, let's get there. Until then, I'm gonna go get a Little Caesars pizza and relax. Peace.